the Uniform Division Squad C officers arrested 22-year-old Kasim Wilson, 21-year-old Devon Blanton, 23-year-old Samaj Hunter, 19-year-old Markendall Johnson, and 22-year-old Ines Nichols in the area of College and Maynard Streets. Prior to these arrests, the detectives in the Firearms Investigation Unit had been investigating members of a local street gang, that would be the Burr Block gang, for the illegal possession and trafficking of firearms. Members of this gang have been arrested for homicides, home invasions, and other firearms charges. On Saturday night, this investigation led to the seizure of 6 firearms, including one that is classified as an assault weapon. 22-year-old Ines Nichols of Springfield, he's on electronic monitoring at the time of his arrest. He has 9 open firearms charges in Hampton Superior Court from a July 2021 firearms arrest. During this arrest, there were 4 firearms seized, one being a ghost gun, several firearm magazines, and more than 300 rounds of ammunition. 19-year-old Markendall Johnson of Chicopee, also on electronic monitoring bracelet. He's currently out on bail for a home invasion mayhem incident where the victim sustained life-threatening burns over a large portion of his body. 21-year-old Devon Blanton of Springfield has an open 2017 firearms case. 22-year-old Kasim Wilson of Springfield, also on electronic monitoring, ordered by the court, out on bail from a July 2021 firearms arrest and a December 2020 firearms arrest. In a December 2020 arrest, he was caught in a duffel bag full of guns thrown out the window of 140 Chestnut Street by another suspect in a firearms unit investigation. The last is 23-year-old Samaj Hunter. He has no previous pending charges. As the events unfolded, in the early evening hours of Saturday, June 11th, 2022, Firearms Investigative Unit detectives received information that one of the subjects of their investigation was in possession of a firearm. The subject was located at 229-231 College Street, the home of another subject known to the detectives. At this time, there were several persons known to the detectives loitering in and around the property. As the investigation progressed, the detectives developed probable cause that at least 4 of the individuals in and around this address were illegally in possession of firearms. These firearms included what the detectives believed to be a rifle concealed in a black shoulder bag. At this time, the detectives, assisted by other units, approached the residence to continue the investigation. As the officers approached, all the subjects in the driveway fled, with the exception of Devon Blanton, who was detained. Markendall Johnson was pursued and detained in the rear of 235 College Street. Ines Nichols was observed fleeing with a firearm in his hand. As he was pursued, he ejected a loaded magazine from the weapon and then discarded the firearm by throwing it into a neighboring yard. Detectives initially caught Nichols in the rear of 191 Maynard Street, but he resisted arrest and was able to flee to 172 Maynard Street, where he was apprehended. The detective who initially caught Nichols at 191 Maynard Street suffered an injury as a result of Nichols' resistance. The firearm and magazine were later located with the assistance of a canine. Samaj Hunter was pursued and taken into custody in front of 191 Maynard Street. Officers located Kasim Wilson inside of 231 College Street and placed him into custody. During a thorough and methodical search of the area around 229-231 College Street, as well as the paths traveled by the fleeing suspects, the following items were recovered. A .40 caliber Glock handgun loaded with 9 rounds. This firearm was believed to be discarded by Markendall Johnson. From inside a car parked in the driveway, detectives seized a .45 caliber Glock with a 13-round magazine that contained 11 rounds. There was an additional round in the chamber of this weapon. A .40 caliber Glock was also recovered from inside this vehicle. This weapon held a 22-round magazine containing 13 rounds as well as a round in the chamber. From atop the passenger tire of another car parked in the driveway, detectives recovered a Colt .45 caliber firearm containing 7 rounds. This weapon was located immediately next to where Samaj Hunter had been observed loitering. The .40 caliber Glock observed in the possession of Anas Nichols. The weapon held the .40 caliber Glock observed in the possession of Anas Nichols was recovered with the help of a canine. This weapon held 1 round in the chamber. The magazine that Nichols ejected from the weapon during this pursuit was also recovered and found to contain 10 rounds. In the black bag, observed to be in the possession of Kasim Wilson earlier in the investigation, officers recovered a .556 caliber rifle containing a 30-round magazine. This magazine held at least 4 .556 caliber rounds. An additional round was located with this rifle. This rifle meets the legal definition of an assault weapon under Massachusetts general law. This investigation is ongoing at this time, and I will say that if you look at the firepower on that table in front of you, I don't think you can say enough about what those guys did the other night. They went up there completely oblivious to their own safety, and they took a lot of bad guys off the street and a lot of firepower off the street, and I couldn't be prouder of these guys.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. First of all, on behalf of Police Superintendent Clapper, Deputy Chief Steve Kent, Captain Brian Keenan, his gun unit has done tremendous work. You see these weapons here. You think some of the judges I complain about would have these allowed in their neighborhoods to threaten their families and friends? No, they wouldn't. And they shouldn't be in my neighborhoods threatening my residents and business community, period. You want to stop gun violence? You got to lock these repeat violent criminal offenders, the 1 or 2%, keep them locked up. That's how you're going to stop gun violence. These individuals that the brave and dedicated men and women in blue took off the streets in these dangerous weapons are repeat violent criminal offenders. Some who are on GPS monitors and bracelets. And you know what? They keep doing it because they don't give a, I can't say what I want to say, because they know they're going to go to court and get a little, be a good boy now. Be a good boy. I know we come before you left and right. We've tried to change the laws. I have bail legislation, which State Representative Angelo Pupolo continues to put across for me in the state legislature. Governor Baker, on his dangerousness bill, trying to gain some traction. He has those meetings with those domestic abuse survivors, and yet there's no movement with the state legislature. There's laws on the book. We need our judges to enforce these laws. Whatever happened to the Bartley-Fox law? That was 1 year mandatory no matter what if you got caught with a gun. So, you know, I have a report card every day or every 4 years when I'm up for election or re-election. And I think maybe it's time that some of these judges had a report card too. Because what is the rhyme or reason that you're allowing these individuals back on our streets, in our neighborhoods, to perpetuate mayhem? Think of how many lives Captain Brian Keenan and his crew saved, or injuries, from taking these individuals off the streets. So, you want to stop gun violence? Keep these bad actors locked up. It's plain and simple. Plain and simple. We have another individual. You know, when somebody breaks into your house, that's personal. When somebody breaks into your car, that's personal. These guys grabbed another guy. 51 arraignments. Car breaks. 51 arraignments. What's it take to hold this guy? Now, same some of the judges, would they want that going on in their neighborhoods? Why is Springfield always looked down upon when it comes to some of the judicial decisions that are being made? Many of the judges do not live in Springfield nor the Springfield area. My people, no matter what creed, color, or background, and business community, don't deserve this. These individuals, repeat violent criminal offenders, they're the ones that have caused this mayhem. They've done it continuously. No judge should feel any obligation to slap them on the hands and let them go on a GPS bracelet or monitor. This is getting sickening now. It is getting sickening. And again, I'm going to fight tooth and nail for my people and business community in the city of Springfield. But it's, we change the law, Sergeant. We try to do that. We're still waiting for legislative movement on that. The governor's still waiting for legislative movement on that. Meantime, these marauders cause mayhem on the streets. They cause families to grieve with injuries or deaths. They all have a long history with the criminal justice system and our Springfield Police Department. And I'm sick and tired, not only putting our residents and business community in harm's way, putting the brave and dedicated men and women in blue in harm's way. As Deputy Chief Kent said, this is heavy-duty firepower here. Heavy-duty firepower here. They get pick off any one of our guys in blue or young ladies in blue at any time. So what kind of message does this send? I mean, there's the judges. I'm not saying no, it's some of the judges. You put them on a bracelet, you put them on a monitor, they don't give you. They still go right back out. They need to be locked up. This gun violence problem can be solved very, very easily. I know it's complicated ways, mental health. These are bad guys. Bad guys. And again, you know what? Maybe we should have report cards on judges. I mean, how are these guys on the streets with the records they have? A judge doesn't have to go out there and console a family on scene in a hospital, God forbid at a funeral parlor or at a wake or in a meeting, and have come back to you saying, Sarno, why was this person on the street? Why didn't you do something about it? Well, we did. Police department did. But I'm getting fed up on this. And I'm going to keep speaking out, and I do run into some judges, the judges that say, you're right on the money. And they say to me, they shake their heads at sometimes the colleagues' decisions that are being made. So this is not a deterrent to these violent repeat criminal offenders. They laugh at you. It's a joke. Courts are a joke. That's the way they feel. We have one injury. It's a joke. Nothing's going to happen to us. We're going to go out and perpetuate mayhem. So I ask some of these judges in the court system to look in the mirror, to state, what if this was to happen in my neighborhood area, whatever hamlet I live in, rural or suburban areas? Would they want their family members or friends affected that way? Damn no, they don't. Well, I don't want that here for my residents or business community, city of Springfield. I don't, when you're out there, it doesn't matter what creed, color, background. You know what they say to me out in neighborhood? Hey, Don, hey, Sarno, hey, Mayor, we want quality of life. We want public safety. What the hell is this guy doing on the streets? And it also hurts us on the relationships that we work with our neighborhoods when they help us out and cooperate and say, I'm not going to cooperate with you anymore. I helped you out, and the guy's right back on the street, tormenting me. I mean, it's becoming an endless, it's like a revolving door. Things are going to change. The pendulum is swinging now. People are upset. All I ask for is every day we have to put across accountability. And all due respect, some of the judges, I need accountability from the judicial system and some of the judges here. How were these guys let go? On bracelets and monitors. Laughing. And on a more personal, again, with the car break-in artists, 51 arraignments. Things are upside down here, and things are going to have to change. And I don't care if, they want to put me out as a bad guy. I'm going to keep screaming from the top of the mountains, whether we get legislation passed or we're going to make specific examples as we're doing today. What rhyme or reason did that judge, he or she, have to let these individuals out? You heard some of the crimes that they had perpetuated. How the hell are they out in the streets again? They don't care. Nothing's going to happen to them. We know what's going to happen. Somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to get killed, whether it's a civilian or, God forbid, one of my brave and dedicated police officers. And then there, thoughts and prayers. Let's do something about it. So I say, I'll finish with this. To some of the judges, some of them, how would you feel if this was happening to your family member, your friends, or in your neighborhood areas? I don't think you would tolerate it, and as the mayor of Springfield, I'm not tolerating it from the residents, my residents of all creed colors and backgrounds, and my business community. When I saw that report early this morning, I just shook my head. I can't say what I did say, but how are they out in the streets? And I appreciate the media being here, but maybe there should be some type of report card on the judges. What's the rhyme or reason why you let this individual go? What's the rhyme or reason why somebody has 51 arraignments and they've been let go, constantly? I have a report card every day. Every re-election time, I have a report card. I'm answerable to the public. I need the judges to be answerable, specifically my Springfield public. And I don't care if they don't like it, some of them. I'm going to keep standing up for the people of Springfield business community. This is bullshit. So with that, I'm going to end. I know Captain Keenan's here through Deputy Chief Kent. His guys do a great job. They put their lives on the line left and right. Think how many lives they've saved from getting hurt. And then if you have any questions from Deputy Chief Kent and/or Captain Keenan, but Keenan, I'm sure you'd like to say a few words on your operations. Record level guns being taken off the streets. And ghost guns too. To the chief, is it okay?
Yep.
Keenan, you want to say a few words?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Deputy Kent. Captain Brian Keenan, Commanding Officer, Springfield Police Firearms Investigation Unit. I want to commend a few people here. I want to commend Sergeant Christopher Heides, who leads probably the hardest working detectives in New England in that 4 to 12 Firearms Investigation Unit. Sergeant James Mazza, who runs the day shift of the Firearms Investigation Unit. Just the Firearms Investigation Unit in the month of May took 20 firearms off the streets of Springfield. There's nobody who puts up the numbers that these guys put up. They get out there every single day and they grind, and they don't stop. And a lot of them do it on their own time too. For these guys, they work so hard, it's like a vocation for them. It's not a job, and the work is right here. And the results of their work we don't see. It's the people that aren't shot. It's the mothers that aren't going to the funeral parlor. It's the people that are alive. This prevented an awful lot of loss of life and property. And the guys work awfully hard. And to the mayor's point, we try to debrief every person we arrest. We try to speak with them. Some will speak with us and some won't. The one consistent theme that we get is they're laughing at you judges. Why would we talk to you? We're going to be out in an hour anyways. The crew that was arrested here, I didn't go to law school. I know Deputy Chief Kent didn't go to law school, but I would say that setting someone on fire makes you inherently dangerous. I don't understand why you'd be on a bracelet. I would say throwing a bag of firearms and catching them out of a busy metropolitan neighborhood would make you inherently dangerous. So, I don't know if they had common sense class at Western New England Law, but if they don't, they need to add it, because this is insane. Thank God we haven't received a phone call that none of our people are hurt. Because every night it could happen. Our guys go out there hunting for these horrible guns, and they do a very good job at it. And your citizens of Springfield, people on Burr Street and College Street, your cops care about you. Your cops work awfully hard for you, and your cops put their lives on the line for you, the residents of Springfield. And thank you.
Thank you, Captain. Nice job. If you have any questions of Deputy Chief Kent, Captain Keenan, myself?
I would just make one more point. Actually, 2 points, actually. Number one, I'm sure you're all familiar with the area of College Street. It's a thickly settled residential area. Like any other thickly settled residential area on a nice Saturday night, there's children playing in the streets, there's people enjoying their yards, enjoying their lives, enjoying the weather. And next door or across the street or 2 doors down, you have gang members running around with this kind of firepower. And the second point I'll make is that rifle, that .556 caliber rifle, will penetrate a bulletproof vest, penetrate the body, and come out the back of that vest, and probably penetrate the vest of the cop that's standing behind that first cop. So, and those guys knew that when they ran down that driveway, that they were confronting that type of weapon, and they didn't hesitate.
Deputy Chief is on the money. Oak Grove, the playground is there, area there, kids, great families there too. They should be put in harm's way. So, the Bill Belichick line. do your job. I'm asking some of these judges to do their jobs, because we don't want any bloodshed. And again, as I open, you want to stop gun violence? I know some other things, but it's pretty direct, simple. Keep these repeat violent criminal offenders locked up. You will subdue a lot of gun violence that occurs at this point in time. So we're very appreciative of the media being here and getting this word out. And I'm hopeful that legislation, whether it's Governor Baker's dangerousness legislation or my bail legislation, it gets some traction in the legislature. But there's laws on the books. Again, I go back to Bartley Fox, which was, you got caught with a gun, mandatory. It was mandatory 1 year. Nobody enforces it. Nobody enforces it. So with that, I'll shut up and, Captain Keenan or Deputy Chief Ken, if you have any questions or comments.
A question for either one of you, whoever can answer it. How, obviously they're not obtaining these guns legally, how are they getting into their hands?
2 of those guns there were stolen. They have ghost guns that you can order pretty much completely online that we're seeing a market increase in. And straw purchasers. They have people who can legally purchase, whether it be in Massachusetts or some other part of the country, travel, make the purchases, and they bring them back to Massachusetts. So, there's a variety of different ways. They're going to find a way to get them. That's just the way it is, because in my opinion, there's not a lot of accountability right now if you get caught with one. You know what I mean? And none of these guys are first timers. So why wouldn't you give it a shot? And if you're going to sell guns, you make a lot of money because no one's afraid to be buying one illegally, apparently. So, it's just, something's got to change. Something's got to change sooner than later. We're just heading into summer. I thought I had the numbers. So far this year, Springfield Police Department has confiscated 133 illegal firearms. And we haven't even hit the height of summer yet. So somebody has got to figure this thing out before you have a 5.56 round going into a child's bedroom, or God forbid, or something similar, or through a car window, or some child's out on her way to get ice cream or something like that. It's got to change.
Was the assault rifle, was that through a straw purchase, you believe?
I don't know.
So
I don't know. They trace them all after we do our thing with them and process them through our place, through the Springfield Police Department. The numbers will be traced. The ATF traces every firearm that we seize. Where that's going to go, I don't know.
Hey, how about the guy on Hancock Street, manufacturing ghost guns? You know what his bail was? Was it $100,000? Was it $250,000? Was it $500,000? $2,500. Ghost guns being manufactured to give to these pieces on the street to perpetuate mayhem, hurt people, God forbid, kill people. $2,500. It seems now that the criminal offenders have more rights than the victims. I think Governor Baker said that in one of his with the domestic abuse things, those terrible, terrible stories. And yet the legislature's not doing anything to pass any of these things. And the judges, $2,500. It's ridiculous. And these guys go out each and every day. You see other departments across the country, I don't want to say laying down, whatever. These guys don't lay down. They're out there working, busting their ass every day. You know what? People simply start saying, what's the use? As he said, they laugh right at you. I'll be out in an hour. It's just getting ridiculous. And I'm going to keep calling out some of these judges. You watch, God, I don't wish it upon them. If something happened in their neighborhood or a loved one, or friend, you watch how quickly their attitude, and I don't wish that upon anybody. But my people, of all creed colors and backgrounds, city of Springfield, don't need to go through this bullshit too. Keep these people off our streets, out of my neighborhoods, and keep them locked up. Do your job. They're doing their job. We're doing our job. We have a multitude of programs help these individuals so they don't start going that way. We need some accountability from the courts, not this revolving door bullshit that's going on. Again, you want to stop gun violence? Keep these bad actors locked up.
When they're placed on those GPS monitors by the court, who makes sure that they don't get into trouble?
I believe that they're supposed to be monitored by probation. And I don't want to criticize anybody, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of monitoring going on. I mean, these guys, there's 3 out of 5 who we arrested. They're all on the Elmo. They're all standing as close as I am to the mayor. Isn't somebody checking the data and say, wait a minute, this guy's a gang member. He's not supposed to be hanging out with this guy who's a gang member, and there's gang member number 3. Somebody should probably be watching that. And I don't know the process, I don't pretend to know, but from my perspective, it says electronic monitoring. I think they're missing half of it.
But here's the whole point. They shouldn't have been on the monitor to begin with. They should be behind bars. Behind bars. So again, to the judges, he or she, and that's enough. They don't take you serious. They don't take you serious. Now, in this case here, he's right. Not 1, not 2, 3 together. And they weren't selling Girl Scout cookies either. They shouldn't have been on to begin with, but shouldn't that be red flags going up? Ding, 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 ding. Something's going on here. We need to swoop in. Well, who swoops in? Blue. Springfield Blue swoops in. We need the backup. The court's got to back us up. When I saw the report this morning, and familiar names, again, but we're going to keep pressing. We're going to keep pressing. You heard enough of my ranting and raving. Anything else? And they're available for interviews.
Was this part of an ongoing investigation, or was it more?
They do it every day and night.
The First Street gang is, we've always been looking at them for a long time.
What's it called again?
First Street.
BURR?
How many people do they bring that day?
We don't want to give
Yeah,
them.
we can't,
We don't want to give them any.
there's 4 that should be, the Ludlow Street gang, if all goes right today, 5 should be the Ludlow Street gang.
Yeah, that gang, we like that gang.
Their numbers